Hey Israel, it's Ari again, back here with another news article I found, and this is going to be about Joe Biden, presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. This article was published today, August 7, 2020, on CNN. Here it goes. Presumptive Democrat presidential nominee Joe Biden sought Thursday night to limit the political damage after he said in an earlier interview that the Latino community in the United States was diverse, unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions. Okay? This is my opinion. This is what I believe. But this is why I believe people like him, from, grave diggers to presidents and the like, they paint the whole of the African American, ADOS, or Israelite community, whichever category you fall in, with one paintbrush. And so people like him, they believe and they assist in passing national laws that put us, our community, in prison for minor offenses for excessively long periods of time. They also have laws on the books, people like him. If you look up his political past and what he has done over his political career, you understand what I'm talking about. But they make it possible for laws that were on the books, during Reconstruction, to still be applied today. And case in point is a share I did about a couple hours ago, and I'll put the a link to it, of the Louisiana Supreme Court upholding a life sentence for a man that had currently been in prison for 23 years for stealing hedge clippers. His name is Fairwayne Bryant. So this man, who our community believes is a choice to vote for, has assisted in destroying our families for decades, But let me go on. So he and Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, right? All they can say is that they're sorry. They're sorry about what they did that has destroyed our communities, our families, and thrown us further in poverty, further falling down that inhumane treatment mountain, allowing people to treat us any kind of way, to murder us in our cars, and we have videos of it, and they tell us and the justice system, don't believe your lying eyes. You know what I'm saying? These are the type of people that have destroyed generations of our community, of our people. So all they can say is that they're sorry, but vote for me now. I'll make it all right. In 3 tweets, Biden said he wanted to clarify his remarks, which President Trump's campaign had seized on in its latest effort to undercut the former president's support among black voters. Earlier today, this is what he came back and said. This is a scripted comment, right? He probably made him rehearse it for forever, but he came back and said, earlier today, I made some comments about diversity in the African American and Latino communities that I want to clarify. In no way did I mean to suggest that African American community is a monolith. Not by identity, not on issues, not at all, Biden said. Listen to this. Throughout my career, I've witnessed the diversity of thought, background, and sentiment within the African American community. It's this diversity that makes our workplaces, communities, and country a better place, he said. My commitment to you is this. I will always listen. Just listen. I will never stop fighting for the African American community, which you've incarcerated for the last 40 years. You put laws on the books that incarcerated us, that destroyed our families, and all you can say is you're sorry. I will always listen. I will never stop fighting for the African American community. I will never stop fighting for a more equitable future that you destroyed purposely throughout your political career. Biden's comment had come in a pre-taped interview hosted by the National Association of Black Journalists and the National Association of Hispanic Journalists. What you all know, but most people don't know. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, this is what he said, the Latino community is incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. Biden said that in the interview. You go to Florida, you find a very different attitude about immigration in certain places than you do when you're in Arizona. So it's very different, a very diverse community. So whilst pandering to the Latino community and for the Latino vote, because that's what this is, right? This was a purpose slap in the face. He purposely pushed you down the steps, African American community. He purposely tripped you up so that he could pander to the Latino vote, okay? He purposely put the African American, ADOS, and Israelite communities to the side because he knows politically, historically, that our communities, as he said, with rare exceptions, would vote Democrat no matter what the nominee would say. Just like when Trump was campaigning, he said it didn't matter, he could do anything, he would still get the white vote, and he was right. This guy knows he can say anything about the African American, ADOS, and Israelite community, and he will still get your vote. That black vote is his, and he knows it the closer he gets to November. Because black people, African American people, ADOS people, Israelite people that still have an inclination to vote, refuse to do the legwork. Refuse to look at his political career and what he has done to the African American community. Because every time this man opens his mouth, whether it's a slight, a stutter, a slap in the face, push you down the steps, and and then hide his hand, he is revealing his heart. He's revealing his mind. He's revealing as his 77 or 70-something-year-old white man, privileged white man self. He is revealing his heart and what his true intentions are. And it's your responsibility in our communities to look at this man's track record, as well as the Republican Party number 45's track record, and decide, should you vote for either one of these people? And how would that, you not voting, affect the outcome of the election? This is what you have to decide to do, right? You have to decide, should you withhold your vote because choosing the lesser of the two evils is not a choice. It's not something that a person that's supposed to be an American citizen has to do. Not because you don't want to vote or you're not interested in the process, or that you think it's not going to really make a difference, but the facts of the two candidates that are going to be on the ticket more than likely. What is their political history? What have they done in the last 4 years? What have they done in the last 12 years? What have they done in the last 20 years? What have they done in the last 30 years? These are the things that we've had 3.5 years to do, when it comes to knowing who Trump is, and then, let's say the last year or so to know who Biden is. So choosing the lesser of two evils isn't a choice anyone should have to make, in my opinion. His comment, campaign advisor Simone Sanders later said, was referring to diversity of attitudes among Latinos from different Latin American countries. Okay, so it is a logical thing to believe, right, that's what he meant. But my experience tells me that what came out of his mouth is what is ingrained in his heart, his mind, and because he is too old to change, and he is, they clean it up and say, no, he didn't mean it that way. This is what he meant. As if in our 400 plus years in this country that we don't have diverse thoughts. We are a people that has made modern society. Even when we, the first 50 years, 60, 100, less than 100 years out of slavery, we were building, communities with banks, Black Wall Street. Don't tell the black community, the ADOS community, the African American community, that we don't have diverse in thoughts. It's because the people that run the communication networks in this country, from, you know, ham radios all the way up to the internet and satellites, that have pushed a narrative, stereotypes, and oppress and suppress black thought, intellectual, okay? And we have been goaded like every other person that of a ethnicity or race or nationality come to this country to assimilate. And what they mean is that we don't assimilate well. Number one, because we're black, because we have melanin. So it's easier for, you know, Koreans or Italians or Latinos that are white, that put white on their license plates, or even people from Hindu background, practice Hinduism traditionally for hundreds of thousands of years, right? To come to this country and be considered white. So they would be considered white and easy to, and will assimilate, whereas people that built this country, our ancestors, who, and we, right now built this country, we are painted with this broad, with the same brush, this broad strokes, that we aren't diverse. You understand what I'm saying? And, you know, with the exceptions, you know, exceptional, in the exception category, he might say you have some black Republicans, okay? But, you know, or people that don't vote, you know, whatever, right? But he knows he has your vote. That's why he can speak that way and pander to the Latino vote by smacking you in the face, because that's usually what happens in this country, right? My battery's about to go dead, so I'm gonna see how far I can get and see where it goes. So Trump's campaign immediately pounced with Trump tweeting, "Wow, Joe Biden just lost the entire African American community. What a dumb thing to say. Oops." The condescending white liberal racism that oozes out of Joe Biden is disgusting, Trump senior advisor Katrina Pearson said in a statement. Like, we don't know their true hearts anyway, okay? Biden won the Democratic primary on the strength of his overwhelming support among black voters, who propelled him to a blowout victory in South Carolina, and then effectively cemented his victory in the weeks that followed. But Thursday was the second time he had to backtrack from comments he has made about black voters since then. In May, Biden said he shouldn't have to be such a wise guy after telling popular radio host Shalom and Baraka that anyone struggling to decide whether to support Biden or Trump in the general election ain't black. So this is the audacity of this man to tell us that if we vote Republican, we must not be black folks, because historically we've always done this, and they've always gotten our vote. That's the audacity. That's the arrogance. So all he has to go, so he just goes on a black radio show and he just says whatever he wants, because he knows he's got the black vote in the bag. That's all it is. Biden has framed his campaign around his opposition to Trump's racist comments and actions, which includes questioning former President Barack Obama's citizenship, expressing his frustration with immigrants from S-hole countries, and referring to white supremacist protesters in Charlottesville, Virginia, and counter-protesters by saying there were very fine people on both sides. I believe this man has issues with people of color, and he's one of the worst kinds, because he's had so many opportunities and has lobbied for and successfully enacted laws that keeps our community oppressed, and then we go and vote for him because we believe he is the lesser of two evils. We need to wake the hell up. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, nor a fan of 45, but I can honestly say this guy is not for black us. And he has proven it throughout his political career. Shalom and Baraka, Israel.